I have been so stressed about this little 10-minute talk to talk on Satan. So usually I'm like, hey, yes, Lord, or yes, Lord. Now we're going to talk about Satan. In fact, this talk, before I came out here, I was just had this spiritual attack upon me, even about to give this talk. My friend had to pray for me over here. I had to go to confession. It was brutal. I guess I'm just going to go through a couple practical things. It's very important for you to know that Satan is real. I think today in our culture, people are believing Satan is more like a word we use for feelings of like, oh, they did bad. Hitler made a poor choice. Instead of saying like it's evil, like Satan is behind these things. He's the adversary. He's the one we're fighting. He's a real person. Our Pope Francis, he said he's worried about people believing that Satan is actually more like a feeling or just something that was an archaic belief instead of an actual entity. Scott Hahn, the great theologian, says, the Our Father is better clearly understood by saying, forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. An actual person. And unfortunately, we've seen horrible representations of who Satan is on all these ridiculous movies that we watch and see. See, here's a couple, I work in the country of Haiti, and I have seen the manifestation of Satan himself. I have seen stuff that would freak you out. But the devil's smart. He wouldn't do that here. Do you know why? Because if Satan jumped up right now and went, "Rah!" You'd all be like, Jesus. You'd run to the cross. So he's not going to do that. So here's what I'm going to do. I was wondering if we could dim the lights just a little bit, and I just want you to entertain me for a second, okay? This isn't rehearsed. I'm just going to trust the Spirit on this. And I'm going to ask you to do something just to trust me. You guys, just trust me. Close your eyes. The devil's not going to pop up in front of you. It's all good. But that would be an amazing, cool feature, okay? Can you imagine that? Like, here we go. I jump down. I'm all dressed in red. No. But seriously, though, okay, do me a favor. If you can't close your eyes, I understand. But if you can, I'm just going to kind of speak to you as if I were Satan, okay? Listen, I am not Satan. He is not channeling me right now, okay? No, okay? But C.S. Lewis did this brilliantly and some other writers, and I just want to speak to you. But I want your eyes closed. I don't want you to be distracted by me. I just want you to hear the words, okay? Now imagine I'm Satan. Now here's the thing. People think Satan's voice has to be like, get out. He wouldn't do that. That would scare you away. He doesn't want to scare you away. He wants to draw you in. His words are poison, just slightly poisoned. He takes the truth and bends it just enough so that you'll enjoy what he's saying and you won't see the poison. And it'll work over a long period of time. Again, he's not going to jump out and scream at you because you'll be like, Jesus, save me. That's the last thing he wants. He does not want you to see the shepherd. He does not want your eyes on the shepherd because you'll remember who you are. So keep your eyes closed. And remember, I'm not channeling anything. I'm just speaking to you from what I've read and seen and him working my own lives. So here we go. I'm talking to my demons. Okay, you horrible, wretched demons. I know you hate them, but I hate them more. In fact, I hate you too. I hate everything. But I have a plan. I want all of his so-called children, this vomitous, massive, disgusting people here, I want them all to die, physically and eternally. But we can't just jump out at them. We have to stay hidden. We have to make them think we're a dream. We're pretend. Something fun to get scared about in a movie theater. But it's much more diabolical than that. We need to distract them. We need to make sure they never turn their hearts and their eyes, their gaze back to, the gaze of their eyes back to the shepherd. What we will do is we'll take everything that is good and twist it just enough to poison them and lure them in. They won't even know they're being lost. We will make sure every father never prays with his son to build him up, to know that he's a child of God. We'll make sure every mother and father do not build up their daughters so they will think they're not good enough. And then what will happen is the son, not knowing who he is, not knowing that he belongs to the shepherd, he'll be lost. He'll find a girl and he'll use her. But he'll call it love, and he'll lead her into grave sin where I can have her. He'll see her as an object. In fact, his mind will become so twisted because he is so lost about who he is. He'll kneel down and worship before his computer and abuse women online. And then the women will become so insecure about who they are, they will start to cut. They'll start to make themselves vomit so that they can look like the girls on that screen, but they never will. Because those girls are false images. They're distortions. But yet they'll dress in a way to try to attract the men away from the computer screen towards them because they don't have love in their hearts. They're looking for it, but they'll settle for any attention from a guy. So they'll dress like prostitutes. And the men will be drawn to that. And because the girls dress like prostitutes, they'll start to think they are. And they'll treat them that way. And we'll have both male and female leading each other closer to hell. We really don't have to do much. We just have to make sure they don't pray. We have to make sure their families fall apart. We have to make sure there are no fathers in these families to stand and defend these children. We have to make sure every young man gets so busy playing sports in school that he does not pray, because then he'll take the gift God has given him to play the sport and he'll make it his God. And it will not be enough. And when the season is over and he grows older and the glory days are gone, he'll become depressed, he'll drink, and he'll long for those days, and they are gone, and depression will set in. He'll hate his life. He'll think about taking it. And that's when we must really charge in. That's when we'll grab these wretched, horrible humans who will be diabolical for us. And they will send text messages to this young man saying, you know what, you are pathetic. Take your life. You see, they're so distracted. They're so far away from the shepherd that all we have to do is whisper, and they'll do the rest themselves. Keep them so busy. Keep them so busy that they'll believe their lives are about success when they don't even realize that success is getting into heaven. Keep them so distracted with sports, relationships, school, the pressures of their parents that they put on them, that they'll forget all about heaven. And they'll have parents patting them on the back as they get A's and B's in their classes, but yet not realizing that their souls are so far from God because they don't go to church anymore. We must never let them go to church. Make them think it's boring. Never give them a heart that will seek to understand what the church teaches, and never let them get to confession. Never, ever let them get to confession. Give them fear. Give them embarrassment. Give them guilt. Let them see that they are worthless. Give them no hope. Steal everything. Destroy everything from them. I want them sitting alone in their rooms when everybody's gone, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm ugly, I'm worthless, I'm nothing. Once we get them there, they're further away from the shepherd. But we have to keep pushing further and further and further. Never let up. And all it is whispers. Remember, do not reveal yourself. Help them to grow in hate of themselves. And the incredible thing is, they won't even know it. They will numb themselves with pornography, with liquor, with sex, everything they can to fill that empty void in their heart. We must make sure the shepherd never enters into that part of their heart. We will give them things that taste good at first, that will slowly destroy them. Make sure they despair. Make sure they get so busy they don't even realize they're in despair until that moment comes. When that moment comes, when their life is about to be taken. Let their lives revolve around themselves. Death. On their deathbed, make sure they have no prayers, that they know none of them. Make sure they have no one there to pray with them. Surround them with friends that will keep them in the places of sin. Make sure they have people who constantly pat them on the back saying, you're fine just where you are. You're a good person. Make sure they hear that a lot. You're a good person, even though they've sinned against the shepherd. Again, don't let them turn back to the shepherd. I want them to rot. I want them to destroy. I want them destroyed. I want them suffering. I want them in agony. I hate them. Take all that is good, twist it just a little bit, and watch them poison themselves. Let a girl look in the mirror, and because she doesn't look like the girl in the magazine, you must whisper into her ear that she is not beautiful. And make sure there's a couple other human demons who will whisper the same thing to her. And she'll believe it, because her eyes aren't upon the shepherd. They'll be turned towards me. You can open your eyes. 5 years ago, I went to the hospital to see my father, who was dying. And I remember walking in and seeing him up to all these machines. He had leukemia. It was killing him, and it was brutally killing him. And I was watching him suffer and trying to breathe and gasp for breath and trying to pull the heart monitors off, and he was fighting for life. And my brother witnessed it more than I did. But when I watched it, I saw my dad, and at that moment, boy, did I really understand how evil Satan is. Because in my ear, while I was watching my dad gasping for breath, trying to live, Satan was saying this: good, suffer, die, suffer more. He enjoyed watching my father die. He loved it. And the only thing he was going to love more is by him saying, you know what? And now all of you hate God because of this death. It was in that moment of death when I saw my dad die, when I really felt the evilness of Satan saying, good, I want you all dead. And go ahead and think I'm just some psychological babble from the archaic dark ages. Yes, I don't really exist, yet Satan exists, and Jesus speaks about him. He's come to devour, to destroy, to deceive. He's the liar. That moment, when I was looking at my dad, probably the most powerful moment I ever felt of Satan laughing at my family and laughing at him saying, good, I want this to happen to all of you. I want you all dead. I want you to suffer. I want you to lose faith. I want you here with me in hell, not because I love you. I find no joy and no pleasure in you whatsoever. I just have this twisted, demented hatred of you all. And I'm smarter than you. And I'm going to trick you. And I'm going to take little things. Instead of the 10 Commandments, you'll believe what your governments tell you more than God. Instead of trusting the Holy Mother Church, you'll lie to yourself. Where God says the two greatest commandments, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. He'll say, forget the first part. Just love your neighbor as yourself, but forget about the God part. Why? Because then you'll make yourself God, and you'll always twist the truth into evil. Just that little bit. And when you do it that little bit, Satan says, nah, I've got you. Now just keep coming. Just keep coming.